empower them, mitigate their suffering. I felt a huge attraction towards it. And when I met Apsara Reddy ji, along with the gracious Indra Mohan Kameswaran ji, I got to know more and know about the energy and the drive. I know you are doing a lot of significant work. In the you were young, just 2 or 3 years. And in this very short time, you have left an imprint. And I am told that your future plan is invest in education, educating those who are less privileged and less fortunate, be the tribal students, be the children of war widows or the transgenders. You deserve all the appreciation and all the applaud. I congratulate all the members of the Good Deeds Club for what you are doing. Apsara Reddy ji, while she was leaving my office after meeting, she gave me an instruction that you must speak on theme of legacy of kindness. And with due deference to what she said, I just like to say a few words because this is what you are doing. Kindness is compassion in action. It is kinetic compassion. Compassion is when you connect. It's not just charity. It is not just with your mind or with your intellect that you say, yes, something wrong, I mean, something suffering, I must do it. It's not as a part of, you feel that I have an obligation to do that. No. Compassion is when you connect. You know, our Indians, the school of thoughts, all the philosophies, all the darshans, they are centered around this theme that the purpose of human life is evolution, evolving from our natural being to the divine being. And how do we evolve from your natural being to the divine being? We know that among all the species in creation, the humans are the most evolved. In our school of thoughts, it also says that Parameshwara, the God, the Supreme God, having created the creation, is present in every element of creation. There is nothing without the presence of the divine. Be it inanimate, which we call inanimate, nothing is inanimate. And if you come to think of it, how can it be? We often say that the soil is inanimate. If it is so, if it is lifeless, how does it support all the life of this? Energy, the life is there. And what our ancestors, our rishis have told us, that the consciousness is as a dormant state, at a sleeping state. And as it awaits the different degree of awakeness or awakening, it determines the stage of evolution. And in our terminology, we call it jada, where the consciousness is dormant, to jiva, where it becomes conscious, the movement begins. Jada, Jiva, Chetana, is consciousness. It starts manifesting itself. And then comes Manushya, the humans. But having been reached the level of humans, the journey is not over. Journey continues. Because we believe that eventually we have to evolve to that stage, because we are all divine, manifestation of the same divine. We must be able to see the divinity in each other. We must be able to see that spark the divine in every element of creation. Not only humans, but even in plants and animals. That is why in our civilization we have been worshipping the plants and animals, the rivers and rocks. Because each one is divine. To evolve that, what is that connect, that we are all part of the same? It is inherent in human. Across the world, it is not a question of philosophy. It is a truth that human being across the world, any part of the world you go, whether it is the civilized, so-called modern civilizations, those who are living in that, or those who are not yet, according to the modern metric of modernization of civilization. Everywhere there is a belief. There is a belief that when you see the suffering, and it's not only just a belief, it is a response. When you see a suffering, something happens to you. When you see even, not only humans, but even an animal suffering, something happens in you. If it doesn't happen to you, then perhaps you are still not at that level, where you're not, you may be physically humans, but you are not yet. You have yet to evolve. Why does it happen? When I see a pet suffering, why do I suffer? Why does it cause pain to me? There is a connect. This connect that brings this suffering is what we call compassion. And compassion, when it translates into action, it's kindness. It is a recognition of the fact that our journey towards divine being, becoming divine being from our natural being is continuing, is on the right course. This feeling the suffering of others, the less privileged, unfortunate, is there in all our ancient wisdoms. Its importance has been highlighted in all the texts. Take the case of our Tirukural. Tirukural, it says, Arvinal agavad undo, piritanoe tananoe pole potrak kade. Piritanoe tananoe pole. Suffering of other is your suffering. It's not just understanding their suffering. You feel the suffering. When our great saint Vallalar says, Vadi peri kand pode lam vadinen. When I see a leaf of grass withering, my heart withers, it pains. This shows the level of evolution where you have, how close you have reached to the being divine, that you are able to see the suffering in any being, even the leaves of grass. This journey, unfortunately what we see today, and several studies have revealed it, that with the modernization, with people and society becoming more affluent, we are becoming less and less compassionate, less and less empathetic. The empathy is not exactly compassion, but is very close to it. Otherwise, how do you see that when you find a road accident, somebody is suffering and cars, people are driving by, no one stops. Somebody has also interest to make a video of it, but taking the person to hospital is somehow it is missing. Why? It's a matter of a study, but why this is happening. But the fact is that with modernization, with greater affluence, we are getting disconnected with ourselves. And that is how we have been talking more and more about the need for kindness, something which is inherent. You know, this desire to be selfish is greed, is natural, nothing unnatural about it. But how do we overcome it to an extent that you don't become completely self-centered? Communities across the world, and I have read the stories of what the tribal communities in the West, in North America says, and what I have heard personally from our indigenous tribal communities in the Northeast. They tell a story. It's very keen, uncanny similarity. Mild variations here and there, but broad theme is the same. A story goes like this. In a village, the granddaughter of the tribal chief, one day, young girl, she came to her mother and said, look, for last several nights I have not been able to sleep together. I have not been able to sleep because I have a fitful, because whenever I close my eyes and I am about to sleep, I see a dream, a nightmarish dream. Two wolves with bearing fangs are fighting. They are bleeding each other. And I get up, I don't sleep. It is happening nights after nights. Why it is so? The mother says, go and ask your grandfather, grand old wise man. He might give you the answer. She goes to her grandfather, the village chief. She tells the story. And the grand old man says that, look, what you are seeing is happening in the heart of every one of us, each one of us. In the heart of each one of us, there are two forces, two wolves, good and the bad, and they are at perpetual fight. Greed, selfishness, and compassion, they are in perpetual fight. And then the young girl asked a very important and seminal question which is the punchline. She asked, who will win? The two are fighting, but who will win? And then the grand old man says, the one you feed. If you feed the good one will win. If you feed the bad one will win. Choice is ours. Choice is ours whether we feed our selfishness, our greed, absolute greed, or we keep compassion alive. And there lies the future of humanity. And you know, the power of compassion, power of kindness is so enormous. It is not something of, it was much more in the earlier times before the advent of modern state. Before the advent of modern state, people looked after themselves. We have a saying, we have in our ancient scriptures tells about the situation was before the advent of modern state, because of, as if we think we can't imagine a society without the state, modern state. But that's not the case. These are only inventions or creations of only just of last a few couple of centuries. Society lived for thousands and thousands of years. And there our ancient text tells us, na raja, na rajyo, na rajashit, na dando, na cha dandika. dharme naiva praja sarve rakshanti asma parasparam. There was no king, there was no kingdom, there was no danda, that is punishment, there was no one to punish. People looked after themselves, they lived in harmony. With the advent of modern state, it has become our tendency, our feeling that now this is the job of the state. And we started withdrawing ourselves from our natural self that tells us to be kind, to be empathetic, to be compassionate to our fellow human being. But then it is not dead. It could be dormant, but it is not dead. And we have seen when this power is harnessed at a collective stage, at a collective scale, what good it brings. In recent years, we have seen several schemes where power of kindness, collective compassion, when it is harnessed, what goodness it brought. You remember, just 5 years ago, in 2019, when Prime Minister Modi said he launched the scheme that every house must have access to cooking gas. Every house must have access to cooking gas, so LPG cylinders should be provided. How could he do it? Well, one option was government could buy and give it to. This is very easy. Though it may cost some money, but it is possible. But this is not the way. Society, the goodness, the good force, the inherent goodness in the society has to be woken up. So he gave a call. Those who can afford to give up subsidy, please do that. So that we have the saving and we give the LPG cylinders to those who are less privileged, less fortunate. And you know how many people in our country gave up? More than 11 million people. More than 11 million people gave up. Each one of those who gave up their subsidy, the kindness which was dormant is awakened. Currently, a drive is going on to eradicate TB, tuberculosis, from our country. Massive drive. We have taken a resolve that in coming next few years, our Bharat must be free of TB. But in this program, how to involve the people, how to wake up, how to awaken the goodness among individuals, the citizens. So the Prime Minister gave a call. Look, for the treatment of TB, one is medicine. Medicine will be given free at various centers, but the patient, largely, patients are from poor background, though there are people from affluent as well. But largely it is considered a disease of the poor because of the living conditions and lack of nutrition. So another aspect of the treatment is how to give adequate nutrition. So a call was given by the Prime Minister. People could volunteer themselves to take up 1, 2, any number according to your choice, the patients, and provide them the cost of due nutrition, what is called Nikshay Mitra, Friends for Eradication of TB. And you know how many people have enrolled so far? We have in our country, we have about 2.5 million TB patients as of now. That is how the estimate is. More than 1.5 million volunteers have already enrolled to be the Nikshay Mitra, and they are supporting the patients. Now this is waking up the goodness among the people. It is there. It has to be woken up. I tell you a few stories for my own life. I was in Nagaland. In Nagaland, along the border with Myanmar, there are large pockets of opium cultivation. And people are opium addicted. Addicted to an extent when you go and see them. Once a warrior race, very healthy and warrior race, looks so decrepit. apology for what they used to be before. The young fellows, old and young all, seemed sleeping all the while. It was a pathetic situation. How do you tackle it? You cannot just tackle it by enforcing and saying, okay, don't cultivate. You may go and destroy some opium plantation, so what? So we chose some young volunteers from the villages across, along the borders, young chaps, high school students, college students. Look, this is a problem, you all agree. Don't look up to government, you have to solve it. These young volunteers got together, and within a few years, they ensured that opium plantation reduced to just what it used to be to 20%, less than 20%. Large number of people, and then they came up with alternative cultivation. Go for horticulture, go for some fruits. Now, power. Now, these young people they were there before. It's not that. What happened? They were just awakened that look, here is a problem and we must solve it. Don't look up to government, do it yourself. Nagaland used to have a reputation that you don't find anything living that moves except humans because they eat everything. It was not a very happy situation. Conservation. You might have read in the newspaper that Amur falcon, this is a sight in the month of about October, November, when millions and millions of Siberian birds, these falcon, Amur, they come from Siberia and go to Africa, they transit this way. And that is the place where, in Nagaland, there is a place where they make a halt. And that's the time when this period of about a month or so, it's worth seeing. But then, earlier, the villagers used to kill and eat. There was massive depletion. In fact, there were also reports that they were transiting to some other locations. But some villagers were called. I said, what is this? Is it something that you should do it? Don't you like to see that they are all your guests? They are passing through your area. They are on a long journey. Look at this, told about all the history, how they are coming, from where they are coming. Thousands of kilometers they are flying. And here in your land, they have chosen your land to be to allow you to be the host and be here with you. Why don't you treat them as guests? And the villagers took up. Today, no one touches one Amur falcon. They all come, it is a majestic sight. I urge you all to go and see it sometime. You see the growth of wildlife is growing because this consciousness, it wasn't there in that. Somehow we try to stereotype people, these people just kill everyone. No, it's not that. You have to awaken that dormant sense, which is there. This is the power. I'm glad that the powerful ladies of Good Deeds Club have taken upon themselves to take it forward as a movement. Because at individual level, people have been doing it. When I came to this estate, I replicated my experiment, what I did in Nagaland. I said that, look, every year, Raj Bhavan will award 2 sets of awards. One for social service, another for environment protection. And when we started getting the nominations, it was touching. People, individual, people coming from the poor class, lower middle class, doing such a phenomenal work, unsung, unseen, and yet doing it. Stories after stories coming up. We have that power in our society. All that we need is to harness it, encourage it, make it a movement. You have started the movement. You have the power. Because Nari Shakti is not a slogan. We, our country, Bharat, for long it has lost its due. The countries which were far behind, they have left us far behind. We can't afford to lose time. And so, in our whole scheme of things, in our vision to move forward, the most crucial element is Nari Shakti. The half of our population must contribute their might in the growth of our nation. We don't talk about women empowerment because women empowerment is a condescending, patriarchal term. You have the power already. All that is needed is remove the shackles, the obstacles that comes in your way. The society has placed on you, when the family has placed on. And there is no reason why you can't do better. And in fact, today they are doing better. As a chancellor of my state universities, when I travel to all my state universities, 20 state universities, I feel delighted that among the gold medalists, when I give the convocation, give the degrees, among the gold medalists, I have to struggle to find where is some boys. It's almost 80 to 90% are women, gold medalists. This is the path. Today, all walks of administration, all walks of life, even the combat role in the military is now open to our daughters. And they are flying fighter bombers today. This is the power of women. For long, society has kept them suppressed, kept them deprived. Society is loosening up. You have a responsibility to give it a push that you break this, you come up. And continue doing what you think you must do. And what at this club you have begun, it's a noble venture. I wish all of you the very best. I wish all of you a long, long journey. This is the second edition. I would like to have celebrated your silver jubilee, diamond jubilee, and centenary and beyond. That is the power. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Nandri.
Thank you, sir, for those deeply inspiring words. Before we draw the address to a close, if I may please request Ms. Apsara Reddy to extend our felicitations as a mark of our respect and gratitude. And at this juncture, if I may also take the opportunity to request the Lady Governor, Mrs. Lakshmi Ravi, to join us for this wonderful moment. Ladies